welcome back to another episode of My Book of Mormon with me, David Michael. This is episode 27, and I am very happy to be back from vacation. Not that I didn't have a great time, it was a lovely vacation, but I'll tell you, I've missed recording this show. It's actually been, it seems like forever for me. I actually had to go back and listen to the last few just so I could remember where we left off. So anyway, lots of news since I've been gone. So before I left, I just kind of said we'll see what happens while I'm gone in terms of all of the MIMO support. And I'll tell you, I've got a lot of thank yous to get through today. So I'm going to try and get through them as fast as I can, but that doesn't mean that I don't really appreciate all of the support that everyone's given the show. The MIMOs have stepped it up once again. So here we go. So joining the ranks of the real MIMOs, we have Stephanie, Karen L., Z. Hespelt, Ron Proctor, and Ib Jensen. So all of you, thank you so much for going to Patreon and deciding to support the show. You are now officially real MIMOs. Well done. And we have 3 new MIMO priests. So first off, we have Priest Michael. Thank you very much. We then have Priest Eric with a K, who is also known as the Jamaican Atheist. And then we have Priest Drew. And as a matter of fact, this would be the same Drew that joined us for episode 26. So thank you. Priests, you are now officially ordained into the MIMO ministry, I guess. Does somebody have a name for that? The MIMO, I don't know, we can't call ourselves a church. That just doesn't seem right. The MIMO cause, I don't know. MIMO movement. There you go. How about we're the MIMO movement? Sounds like a bowel movement. Anyway, all right. Then next up, we have the very first female bishop. So Bishop Lucy, thank you so much for your support. I know that Lucy was very happy to hear that she was the very first. She said that she lacked a chromosome to be a bishop in the Mormon church, and so she said, by God, I'm going to be a bishop somewhere. This is as good a place as any. So thank you, Bishop Lucy. You've joined an elite group of bishops. And then lastly, we have someone that decided to kind of in between the priest and bishop status. So definitely got to join him into the ranks of the priesthood. So we have Priest Sean. And Sean, the reason I say they're in between, different levels of support, he snuck us in between, but what was important about Sean is that Sean is the one that got us over that goal. So Sean figured out the math and said exactly how much do we need to get over that hump. And so I am happy to report, thanks to the awesome support of all of the MIMOs on Patreon, we've officially hit our goal, and so that's just awesome. I put another goal out there just for fun. If we hit that, my God, it'll be a lot more work for me. It really will. I'm not saying that I'll be upset about it, because I really do like doing this show. Just saying. If we actually just get a lot more support and get up to that goal, all right, I'm willing to put the work in. If you guys like it that much, I'll go ahead and keep doing the work. Okay, additionally, a whole bunch of one-time donations that people have made. So I want to go through these and say thanks to everybody. So first off, we have Timothy Wainwright. Thank you so much. Zachariah Smith. Thank you so much for your donation. And we also have Jay. We have Paul. We have Kate. And we have Marlene. And Paul, I'm sorry, I didn't say that right. That'd be Captain Paul of the U.S. Navy. So thank you, Captain Paul. Okay, so seriously, guys, all of you, thank you so much. You've been awesome. And I mean, I know I just kind of went out on a limb and said, would you guys be willing to help out financially, support the show? And holy crap, did you ever. So thanks to everybody. Also, for the MIMO bishops, I did send out the autographed pictures to all of you, so hopefully you got them. It was part of the commitment I made if you wanted to sign up for that level of support. So if you didn't get them, let me know. And, yeah, so that's, again, I'm floored by the generosity, so thank you to all of you. And, I'm just going to continue to say thanks. But, as promised, I'm gonna stop, asking for more support, because you guys did it. You got me to where we needed to be, so thank you. So, if anyone wants to continue to, if anybody else wants to jump on the bandwagon and say, hey, I want to help support the show too, well, that's great. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to turn you away. But, I'm also not going to go out asking anymore, because we've hit the goal. So thanks to everybody. Okay, where did we leave off? I have not turned this e-reader on since we read last, so hopefully it's right where we left off. It says that we're on Mosiah chapter 19. Sounds about right. And I actually did notice on Monday when I released the show, I'd literally just gotten back, got off a long flight, and I was like, oh my God, I have to be at work in the morning. I better just do this. It was the middle of the night. I released it, and I kind of made a mistake in the show notes because I said Abinadi started a church, when in fact it was Alma. So sorry that the notes in the last episode were a bit wrong. Whatever. I mess up names all the time. Not the first time. Probably won't be the last. But anyway, yeah. So where we left off was Abinadi was very slowly roasted to death by King Noah, and but didn't stop him from getting a very long diatribe on how cursed everyone would be because they were burning him. And then Alma decided, hey, maybe that Abinadi was onto something, so he kind of started his own little, I mean, I guess by definition you call it a cult, maybe, I guess is what he's doing. Started his own little cult, and our guest, Drew, said that, yeah, that kind of seemed more like a pyramid scheme. So anyway, that's where we left off. And so right now, I think King Noah just now kind of caught on to this little cult movement going on, so the Alma cult, I guess we'd call it, and so he's not real happy about it. So he sent some soldiers out to find him, I think, and yeah, I think that's basically where we are. So all right, we're gonna jump into it, and I'm excited to finally be back reading this thing, because yeah, I've missed it. Can't lie, I've missed. This is a fun book. There's exciting stuff going on. So let's see what happens next. So all right, chapter 19. And it came to pass. All right, drink. I love it. Right off the bat. I love it when the episodes start out with a drink. All right, everybody. If you don't have a drink, you got to pause. Go get yourself one. Because, right off the bat, we got ourselves it came to pass. Okay, that the army of the king returned, having searched in vain for the people of the Lord. All right. So I guess they're looking for the Alma cult people, and they just couldn't find them, which means they must be in the wilderness, because, once you go in the wilderness, lost forever. And now, behold, the forces of the king were small. Well, there's your problem. You only sent a few people out. All right. Having been reduced, and there began to be a division among the remainder of the people. Uh-oh. Well, why was this army reduced? Kind of a reduction in force? Maybe some cost-saving measures there? Okay. And then division of the people. So I guess King Noah's kingdom is now being divided. I'm not really sure why. I assume some of them are saying, hey, this cult doesn't sound too bad. Although, I don't understand. What are they offering? I mean, on one hand, you have King Noah, who's like, hey, guess what, everybody? You can have sex with whoever you want. That's fine. Nobody hurting. Consensual. It's good. Or we can drink all we want. Things seemed pretty fun, actually, in that King Noah kingdom. It seemed like kind of a nice place to live. Then you have this other guy who's just like, repent and be boring. And somehow they're just flocking to that. Everyone's excited about it. So I don't know. I don't know why there'd be, doesn't seem like a tough choice. Okay, and the lesser part began to breathe out threatenings against the king. And there began to be a great contention among them. So it sounds like the cult people are now threatening the king. Well, this is no good. And now there was a man among them, whose name was Gideon. And he, being a strong man, and an enemy to the king, therefore he drew his sword, and swore in wrath that he would slay the king. Well, I guess, there you go. Gideon is now decided, I'm assuming he's a part of the Alma cult, and he's decided he is going to assassinate the king. So, good luck on you, Gideon. I hope not. I kind of like King Noah. Seriously, I think after Laman, he might be my favorite character. He seemed like a pretty stand-up guy. Although he was kind of he couldn't make decisions very well. So as a king, he wasn't great. Because remember, it was Abinadi would say, you have to listen to me. And he'd be, okay, I'd listen. And then the advisors would be like, don't listen to him. And he's like, oh, okay, I won't. So yeah. Anyway, outside of that, pretty stand-up guy. And it came to pass, drink, that he fought with the king. Wait, literally? They have a sword fight right now? Let me see. He fought with the king, and when the king saw he was about to overpower him, he fled. Oh my God, they really did have hand-to-hand combat. Okay. He fled and ran and got upon the tower which was near the temple. My God. Does the king not have guards? This Gideon guy just came up and said, let's do this. And the king pulled his sword out, and I must, fight for my honor. Raw. I don't know. This is fun. We got our sword fight. It was exciting. It sounds like Gideon must be the better with the sword, because he got the upper hand on the king. King now ran up in a tower. So there you go. And Gideon pursued after him, and was about to get upon the tower to slay the king. And the king cast his eyes round about towards the land of Shemlon. And behold, the army of the Lamanites were within the borders of the land. Well, there's an opportune time. So Gideon's just about, he's like, king, I'm taking you out. And the king's like, hold on now, check it. Got some Lamanites over there. Maybe not so fast. And now the king cried out in the anguish of his soul, saying, Gideon, spare me, for the Lamanites are upon us, and they will destroy us. Yea, drink, they will destroy my people. Wow, that's really what he said. So he's like, at death's door, Gideon's got his sword raised. They're on top of this tower. Paint the picture. This could be a cool movie, right? So he's up there, and Gideon's ready to take him down, and he turns his head and says, my God, look, the Lamanites are coming. And then he's like, can't kill me. Okay. And now the king was not so much concerned about his people as he was about his own life. Now, how do you know? Seriously, who Whoever wrote this, how do you know what's going through the king's mind? That seems a bit of a stretch. Anyway, somehow they knew that the king didn't care about his people, only cared about himself. I think that's a stretch, because I don't know how they'd know. Nevertheless, Gideon did spare his life. Good for you, Gideon. And the king commanded the people that they should flee before the Lamanites. Okay. And he himself did go before them, and they did flee into the wilderness. Bye, guys. Wilderness, that's that. With their women and their children. So, all right, so Gideon's ready to kill the king. And the king said, no, don't kill me, because if you kill me, I can't escape. Great. And somehow that worked on Gideon, because Gideon's like, well, that's true. If I kill you, you can't run away. Okay, do that. So now the king ran away with a bunch of women and children. There you have it. And it came to pass, drink, that the Lamanites did pursue them, and did overtake them, and they began to slay them. Well, I guess the Lamanites are finally getting the upper hand. When did this happen exactly? I mean, everything I've heard so far, if we recall, Lamanites were not doing well. They were just getting beat down. But I guess it did make this comment about the army was smaller or something. So I guess Noah, shrunk the army for whatever reason, and now he's paying the price for that short-sighted decision. Sounds like the Lamanites are now regaining the upper hand in this long struggle, because they are slaying them in the wilderness. I guess they finally figured out how to navigate these wildernesses, so good for them for at least learning the lay of the land. Now it came to pass, drink, that the king commanded them. Wait, I thought they were slain. Well, I guess some were slain, because it only began. Okay, so the king's still alive. The king commanded them that all the men should leave their wives and their children and flee before the Lamanites. Well, there's a stand-up move. Yeah, leave your women and children and haul ass away from the Lamanites. Okay. Good call, king. Starting to not like this king. Although I don't know how. That just doesn't sound like Noah. But anyway, whatever. Now there were many that would not leave them, but had rather stay and perish with them, and the rest left their wives and children and fled. Okay. So some guys are like, I would rather die next to my women and children than leave them behind. Why can't the women and children come along? I don't get it. I mean, I suppose little kids might slow you down, but women are fast enough, I guess. This is Anyway, some reason the men in this kingdom were just twice as fast as the women and children. So those poor women and children, they had no hope. They couldn't run. They were just anyway. And it came to pass, drink, that those who tarried with their wives and their children caused that their fair daughters should stand forth and plead with the Lamanites that they would not slay them. So if you had a hot daughter, put her out front. I love that some men were brave and stayed. And what did they do? They took their hot daughters and said, you want some of this? Don't kill us. You can have a little piece of this action. So let's see if that worked. And it came to pass, drink, that the Lamanites had compassion on them, for they were charmed with the beauty of their women. This is starting to sound a little silly. Sorry. But yeah, I'm just trying to picture this in my head. This army coming over the hill, and they're just slaying everything in their path, blah, bloodthirsty, and all of a sudden there's this cute girl, and she's like, hi, and they're like, oh. Yeah, that's how war happens. Okay, so they're charmed. Before the Lamanites did spare their lives and took them captives. Oh, I'm sorry, not before. Therefore, the Lamanites did spare their lives and took them captives and carried them back to the land of Nephi. Wait, back to the land of Nephi? Where are they? I thought they were in the land of Nephi. All right, they're somewhere. I don't know where they are. Oh, I suppose the wilderness. Yeah, because that's a place. Okay, and granted unto them that they might possess the land. What? Under the conditions that they would deliver up King Noah in the hand of the Lamanites, and deliver up their property, even one half of all they possessed, and one half their gold, half their silver, half their precious things. And thus they should pay tribute to the king of the Lamanites from year to year. Okay, I get it now. Remember, this is a flashback? Remember that flashback? This is a flashback to before when, what was his name? Mosiah 2, right? The second Mosiah, I think is who it was. No, it wasn't him. It wasn't. It was that guy. Ammon, something like that. I think it was Ammon. Yeah, when he came and he hey, look, here's the Nephites. How you doing, fellas? And they were like, well, we're not doing so hot because we're getting taxed 50%. And he was like, oof. And then we jump back in time and to tell this story. So it sounds like this is how they kind of got under the Lamanite rule and the 50% tax rate. Sounds like. There you go. But I love how that we'll let you live if you give us King Noah. And they're like, well, he's out in the wilderness. I don't know where he is. You go find him. Anyway, so yeah, the women were just so hot that the Lamanite soldiers just couldn't kill him. And now instead of killing them, they're not even like prisoners. They're just like, okay, why don't you go? We're going to bring you back to your homes. There you go. And you can stay here. You're just going to pay a tax to us instead of the King Noah. And it's a little higher, foreign taxes, they do add up. So putting your hot girls out front, that's a good trick. I don't know if that would work on every marauding army. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that most marauding armies, if you're running over a hill and you put the young, beautiful women out there, something else might happen. I don't want to speculate anymore, but I would not recommend this if there's an army of sword-yielding soldiers running over the hill towards your village. I'm just thinking, best strategy, don't put all your hot girls out front, because I just don't think that that's going to charm them. I think something else might happen. All right, and now there was one of the sons of the king among those who were taken captive, whose name was Limhi. Okay, yeah, it's got to be Limhi. What else could it be? Or no, it's Limhi, isn't it? Someone told me if it ends in an I, you pronounce it like I. So it's not Nephi, it's Nephi, or Nephi, right? And so this is an I, so it must be Limhi, not Limhi. I'm hoping that's right. See, I think I'm starting to learn like this fake language. And I think it's Limhi. Yeah. Okay, so Limhi is actually, I guess, a prince. He's a son of King Noah, it sounds like. And now Limhi was desirous that his father should not be destroyed. Nevertheless, Limhi was not ignorant of the iniquities of his father, he himself being just a man. Okay. So if every man has iniquities, then I don't know why it's so impressive that he knew his father had iniquities, because he is a man. I don't know. And it came to pass, drink, that Gideon sent men into the wilderness secretly to search for the king and those that were with him. And it came to pass, drink again, that they met the people in the wilderness, all save the king and his priests. All right, so I think the only people that were left in the wilderness were all of the men who chickened out on their families. And so it looks like they found them, right? So all those guys that, just totally were like, sorry, wife and kids, you gonna die. I'm out of here. So now they're saved. But the king and his priests, they're still missing in action. We'll have to see if we can find them. All right, now they had sworn in their hearts that they would return to the land of Nephi, and if their wives and their children were slain, and also those that had tarried with them, they would seek revenge, and also perish with them. Who's they? Is this Gideon? Is he the they? Or is it the people that they found in the wilderness? It must be the people they found. So now these guys that seriously left their wives and their children to die, right? Now they're coming back and saying, well, if anyone hurt my wife or children, I'm going to seek revenge. It's like, really? You kind of left them to die. So, doesn't sound too brave. Now they're all brave, right? Ooh, we're getting revenge. All right, and the king commanded them that they should not return. Wait a minute, the king, he's missing. This story is not making sense. All right, so somehow the king, that nobody knows where he is giving commands. So he must have some sort of network of couriers or something. I don't know. All right, so he told them they couldn't go back land of Nephi. And they were angry with the king and caused that he should suffer, even unto death by fire. Okay, again, who's they? Who wants him to suffer? I guess the king's subjects. We'll just go with that. So King Noah is out in the wilderness. He's missing, but somehow commanding people. And, and so they're pissed. They're like, damn this king. We're gonna set him on fire. We're gonna give him the Abinadi treatment. Yeah. And they were about to take the priests also and put them to death, and they fled before them. And they fled before them. The priests fled, I guess. And it came to pass, drink, that they were about to return to the land of Nephi, and they met the men of Gideon, and the men of Gideon told them of all that had happened to their wives and their children, and that the Lamanites had granted unto them that they might possess the land by paying a tribute to the Lamanites of one half of all they possessed. And the people told the men of Gideon that they had slain the king, and his priests had fled from them farther into the wilderness. They slayed the king? I didn't remember. I mean, they said they wanted to light him on fire. Did they? Are they lying? I don't know. I was so into the story when it was like the sword fight, running up the tower, armies over the hills, and now I'm just confused. All right, it came to pass, drink, after they had ended the ceremony, that they returned to the land of Nephi, rejoicing because their wives and their children were not slain, and they told Gideon what they had done to the king. Or didn't do. I guess at this point we should assume the king was burned alive. So he's dead now. By King Noah, I think. Sounds like it. and caused that he should suffer. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. It said that they caused that he should suffer even unto death by fire. I guess that is saying they lit the king on fire. So there you go. All right, but the priests are still missing. Gotta burn them too. Okay. And the people told the men of Gideon. Oh wait, I already said that. And it came to pass, drink, that after they'd ended the ceremony. Oh, I read that too. Crap. And it came to pass, drink, that the king of the Lamanites made an oath unto them that his people should not slay them. The king of the Lamanites. Okay. Yeah. So whoever the king of the Lamanites is, he's not going to kill any more Nephites, I guess is what they're called. And also Limhi, being the son of the king, having the kingdom conferred upon him by the people, made oath unto the king of the Lamanites that his people should pay tribute unto him, even one half of all they possessed. And it came to pass, drink, that Limhi began to establish the kingdom and establish peace among his people. All right. And the king of the Lamanites sent guards round about the land that he might keep the people of Limhi in the land, and they might not depart into the wilderness. Okay. And he did support his guards out of the tribute which he did receive from the Nephites. Okay, so there we go. They are called the Nephites. Cool. I think this is now like the third generation, Nephite 3.0 at this point. And now King Limhi did have continual peace in his kingdom for the space of 2 years. I almost said Lamanites. Caught myself. Okay. That the Lamanites did not molest them, nor seek to destroy them. So for 2 years, no molesting. Well, that sounds pretty good. Too bad it didn't continue, sounds like. But yeah, okay. So let's figure this out. So they hated King Noah so much that they burned him alive, set him on fire until he was dead. Okay? And now Limhi stands up, he's like, hey, I guess I'm next in line to the throne. And somehow everyone's like, yeah, I guess you are. Like, I kind of think if you murder your king, that kind of ends that line of monarchs, right? I would think maybe elect a new king, perhaps. I would think this Gideon would probably be saying, what about me? Come on now. I took a stand when nobody else would. Or even that other fella, what's his name? Alma. Yeah, maybe Alma should be king, right? But no, Limhi's like, nope. I'm next. And everyone just seems to agree. So there you go. So Limhi is the new king, and at least for 2 years, he's given half of their money to the Lamanites, and the Lamanites are using that money to guard the Nephites. So, the Lamanites aren't even trying to get rich off this. They're just saying, look, you guys are crazy. You can't be kept in line. Well, every time we leave you on your own, you raise up an army, you come and start killing us. So honestly, we just need to keep you at bay. This sounds pretty reasonable. So the Lamanites are saying, you're going to give us 50% tribute. We're going to use that money to have an army guard you and keep you there. Right? Essentially what they're doing. Because every time we let you go out on your own, you come and kill us. So enough of that. Peace. So it sounds like the king of the Lamanites, whoever he is, had a pretty good plan. He's like, let's just overthrow their government. We'll put a new government in, and then we're going to make sure that they can just stay there and not kill us. Not bad. Okay, chapter 20. That was 19. Pretty dramatic chapter, I have to say. 19 was not bad. That was kind of fun. Got confusing in the middle because I kept going, they said to them that he that do of they. And it's like, well, who are these? Tell me who these pronouns are. Anyway, all right, chapter 20. And now there was a place in Shemlon where the daughters of the Lamanites did gather together. No, that's not what it said. Did gather themselves together to sing and to dance and to make themselves merry. Okay, so we got some, all of the Lamanite daughters having themselves a little ball, little dance. And it came to pass, drink. And there was one day a small number of them gathered together to sing and dance. Well, okay, so now we have a smaller dance, I guess. And now the priests of King Noah, being ashamed to return to the city of Nephi, drink, and also fearing that the people would slay them, imagine, therefore they durst not return to their wives and their children. What did this have to do with dancing daughters of Laman? All right. And having tarried in the wilderness, and having discovered the daughters of the Lamanites, they laid and watched them. Well, this must be some dance. These priests are like, check this out. And when they were but a few of them gathered together to dance, they came forth out of their secret places, and took them, and carried them into the wilderness. Drink. 24 of the daughters of the Lamanites they carried into the wilderness. Well, these priests, their hierarchy of needs is a little skewed, don't you think? So they're like, we have no family. We're living in the wilderness. And so do they sneak into the city to steal food and supplies? No, they steal women. These are some nice guys. All right, so now they got themselves some daughters. And then it came to pass, drink, When the Lamanites found that their daughters had been missing, they were angry with the people of Limhi, for they thought it was the people of Limhi. Yeah, I imagine, because you had this like secret band in the forest just stealing women. Someone's got to pay. Therefore they sent their armies forth, yea, drink, even the king himself went before his people, and they went up to the land of Nephi to destroy the people of Limhi. He is pissed. He's like, you take 24 of our women, you all die. There you go. Now Limhi had discovered them from the tower. Boy, that tower comes in handy. I'll tell you, you need a tower. Even all the preparations for war did he discover. Therefore he gathered his people together and laid wait for them in the fields and in the forests. So Limhi doesn't go and say, King, listen, you got to understand it wasn't us. Okay, those priests that we never caught in the forest. Tell you what, let's come together, right? How about you and I? We join armies. We go out into the wilderness. We kill those priests. We get your daughters back, and we can keep living in harmony. No. Limhi's like, oh, they think we stole their daughters, and they want to make us pay for that? All right, bring it on. Let's fight. It's like, you can even do. Why don't you just some diplomacy would be helpful. Okay, and it came to pass, drink, that when the Lamanites had come up, the people of Limhi began to fall upon them for their waiting places and began to slay them. Imagine that. And it came to pass, drink, that the battle became exceedingly sore, for they fought like lions for their prey. Again, they fought. Someone's fighting like lions for prey. Don't know who, just as they. So we'll see. And it came to pass, drink, that the people of Limhi began to drive the Lamanites before them. Yet they were not half so numerous as the Lamanites, but they fought for their lives, and for their wives, and for their children. Therefore they exerted themselves, and like dragons did they fight. Okay, no idea how dragons fight, since they're mythological, but somehow they fought just like dragons. And also, I love that it's like the Nephites, they're fighting courageously because, they have to fight for their wives and children. What do you think the Lamanites are fighting for? They're literally fighting because their daughters were abducted. You know what I mean? So it's like the Nephites fought harder because they were fighting for their women. The Lamanites are fighting for their women. Anyway, I mean, it sounds like the reason they won is because they set a trap. It doesn't sound like they were more motivated. They just trapped them, right? They hid in the fields, and when the army came, they engulfed them. Pow. Classic engulfing maneuver. And they won the day. So anyway, and they fought like dragons. I guess they could breathe fire. And it came to pass, drink, that they found the king of the Lamanites among the number of their dead. Good God, you killed the king. Yet he was not dead. Well, no, wait. Among the number of their dead, yet he was not dead, having been wounded and left upon the ground, so speedy was the flight of his people. Okay, so they were like dragging the dead bodies, I guess, in a pile or something. And they're like, wait a minute, this guy's not dead. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a king of the Lamanites. Well, awesome. So let's see what happens. And they took him and bound up his wounds and brought him before Limhi and said, behold, here is the king of the Lamanites. He, having received a wound, has fallen among the dead, and they have left him. And behold, we have brought him before you, and now let us slay him. Well, if you wanted to kill him, yeah, a couple things you could have done. You could have done nothing. It sounds like he had a mortal wound. You could have just left him there. That would have solved the problem. You could have pulled your sword out and just finished the job. Yeah, that would have worked. But no. They bound him up. They dressed his wounds, and they said, okay, now let's take him. Let's take him to King Limhi here, and say, please let us kill him. That's interesting. But Limhi said unto them, ye shall not slay him, but bring him hither, that I may see him. And they brought him, and Limhi said unto him, what cause have ye to come up against, and to war against my people? Now he wants diplomacy. That's fantastic. Couldn't do this before the battle, when who knows how many people died. Sounded like a lot. No, couldn't just say, hey, I noticed that you're preparing an army. Looks like they're pointed in our direction. Could we talk, King? Maybe a little, I'm holding up the flag of truce. Let's chat. No, has to wait till after the battle. Hundreds, if not thousands, lost. And now he's like, hey, could we have a chat about what that was about? I have no idea. No idea. We just went to war, and I don't know why. Okay. Behold, my people have not broken the oath that I made unto you. Therefore, why should ye break the oath which ye made unto my people? Now the king said, I have broken the oath because thy people did carry away the daughters of my people. Therefore, in my anger, I did cause my people to come up to war against thy people. Okay, we know all this. And now Limhi had heard nothing concerning this matter. Therefore he said, I will search among my people, and whosoever has done this thing shall perish. Therefore he caused a search to be made among his people. Seriously, if this conversation had happened a day earlier, how many people wouldn't have died out on the battlefield? That was a pointless battle. It was a misunderstanding. And they had this battle. All these people died, and they're like, okay, now let's have a chat. Why did we have a battle? And it's like, well, you took our women. Yeah, I don't think we did. But if someone did, I'll get to the bottom of it. And I will, I agree. This is, whatever. This is just, They literally are doing the shoot first, ask questions later mentality, both of them. Now, when Gideon had heard these things, he being the king's captain, he's the king's captain? All right, I guess Gideon got a promotion. There you go. He went forth and said unto the king, I pray thee forbear, and do not search this people, and lay not this thing to their charge. For do ye remember the priests of thy father, whom this people sought to destroy? Are they not in the wilderness? Are they not the ones who have stolen the daughters of the Lamanites? How in God's name does Gideon know that the priests took them? Okay, if he knew all this time, then he's even more at fault, because he could have avoided this war before it started even easier than the king could have. He just could have been like, hey, King Laman, I just saw these priests in the woods and they took your daughters. You want us to help you go get them? No. He somehow knows that they did it, but didn't tell anyone in advance. Okay, thanks a lot, Gideon, Captain Gideon. You're really good at your job. And now behold, and tell the king of these things, that he may tell his people that they be pacified towards us. For behold, they are already preparing to come against us, and behold, there are but a few of us. And behold, they came with a numerous host, and except the king doth pacify them towards us, we must perish. Wow, so it sounded like the Nephites had done a good job against this Lamanite army. And it sounds like that was just, yeah, they might have slowed them down a little, but ultimately, if the Lamanites want to wipe them out, they absolutely can. And so Captain Gideon's like, come on now, you gotta place this blame somewhere else. Like, let's blame the priests. So maybe Gideon didn't know that the priests took him, but it is a pretty convenient excuse. So he's like, well, we should use it. Come on. Okay. For are not the words of Abinadi fulfilled, which he prophesied against us? And all this because we would not hearken unto the words of the Lord, and turn from our iniquities. Well, there you have it. Now it's explained. They couldn't have avoided this. The diplomacy wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, Limhi and Gideon knew they had this coming. They had it coming. Because the generation before didn't listen to this guy who, let's talk about what Abinadi was. He was just some random guy that came into town and started saying, I'm speaking for the Lord. And they're like, really? And then they said, you're full of crap, get out of town. And then he came back disguised, and he's like, I speak for the Lord. And they're like, who are you? He was not, I would not have given him much credibility. But because I didn't listen to him, all these bad things are happening. I'm not saying he deserved to be burned at the stake. Don't get me wrong. It was definitely a bit harsh. But I don't know that he made a strong enough case for people to believe him. It didn't sound like it. Although he did start to glow. That would get my attention. I'll admit, that would have given me pause if a man just started glowing in front of me and be like, oh, okay. All right. So, where was I? Here we go. And now let us pacify the king, and we fulfill the oath which we have made unto him. For it is better that we should be in bondage than that we should lose our lives. Therefore, let us stop of the shedding of so much blood. And now Limhi told the king all the things concerning his father and the priests that had fled into the wilderness, and attributed the carrying away of their daughters to them. Did he provide any evidence? Doesn't sound like it. Limhi's just saying, must have been them. Must have been them. And it came to pass, drink, that the king was pacified towards his people. And he said unto them, let us go forth to meet my people, without arms, and I swear unto you with an oath that my people shall not slay thy people. They're going to the Lamanite people? Again, just the people. Who knows which one? And it came to pass, drink, that they followed the king, and went forth without arms to meet the Lamanites. So we have kind of a Nephite delegation that's going into the to the Lamanite village. Well, there you have it. And it came to pass, drink, that they did meet the Lamanites, and the king of the Lamanites did bow himself before them, and did plead in behalf of the people of Limhi. What? And when the Lamanites saw the people of Limhi, that they were without arms, they had compassion on them, and were pacified towards them, and returned their king in peace to their own lands. What in the world? So I guess he's saying the king went to the army that he brought there, and he goes, listen, I know I pumped you guys up, and I promised you that we were going to kill all these Nephites, but can we not, please? Can we please not? And it was really funny, is if you kind of thought this whole, they looked at them and they didn't have arms, that could be kind of funny if they literally didn't have arms. Right? They're like, oh my God, they don't even have arms. We feel so bad for them. All right, we won't kill you, but my God, no arms. I think what they mean is that they put down their swords. But still, the way it was worded, when the Lamanites saw the people of Limhi, that they were without arms. Can you imagine? Just torsos with legs. Sad. All right, so that was that. Now it sounds like we are at the... Yeah, that was just a diversion, really, from the story. It was just like they were under the Lamanite control, and then there was kind of a misunderstanding, a little bit of bloodshed, and then we're kind of back to where we were before. It's kind of a pointless chapter, wasn't it? Well, no, it wasn't pointless. We had to have it to fulfill the curse, right? The Abinadi curse had to happen. All right, chapter 21 of Mosiah. Here we go. And then it came to pass, Drake, that Limhi and his people returned to the city of Nephi and began to dwell on the land again in peace. Lovely. And it came to pass, Drink, that after many days the Lamanites began again to be stirred up in anger against the Nephites. Why? Why? And they began to come into the borders of the land round about. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't sound like this is like the Lamanite king. It's just like the population of Lamanites. They're just like, damn Nephites. Can't stand them. They're probably thinking back to the fact that that there was like massive genocide going on, and they kind of want their revenge. That's my guess. Now they durst not slay them, because of the oath which their king had made unto Limhi, but they would smite them on their cheeks, and exercise authority over them, and began to put heavy burdens upon their backs, and drive them as they would a dumbass. So there you go. And you think I'm making that up? Read it. Chapter 21, verse 3, as they would a dumbass. I'm telling you. Just reading the book. That's fantastic, though. So, yeah, it sounds like the individual Lamanites are saying, you know what, all the king made, no, he said is that we wouldn't kill him. Doesn't mean we can't mess with him a lot. So it sounds like they're smacking him around on the cheeks, and they're making him carry heavy stuff. Yeah, that'll teach him. That'll teach you Nephites. Yea, drink. All this was done, that the word of the Lord might be fulfilled. Oh, that's right. There you go. The word of the Lord. It wasn't the word of the Lord. It was the word of Abinadi. Let's be honest here. But apparently the Lord must be pleased with this. He was like, yes, I said that you guys were going to suffer, and now you're suffering. I am pleased. Now all the afflictions of the Nephites were great, and there was no way they could deliver themselves out of their hands, for the Lamanites had surrounded them on every side. And it came to pass, Drink, that the people began to murmur with the king because of their afflictions, and they began to be desirous to go against them to battle. Well, there you have it. Anytime murmuring starts, you know it doesn't end well. But it sounds like they're murmuring to the king. And it sounds like they're saying, yeah, this life sucks. We are not happy. We would like to kill these people that are torturing us and making us their slaves. So let's see if Mr. Limhi grants their wishes. Therefore he granted unto them they should do according to their desires. Oh, there you have it. So it sounds like we're going back to battle. Nice. And they gathered themselves together again, and put on their armor, and went forth against the... Okay, I'm sorry. Like 2 verses ago, it said there was no way they could deliver themselves out of the hands of the Lamanites. It said it wasn't possible. And why wasn't it possible? Because they were surrounded on every side. So, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You're slaves to them. And then 2 verses down, they're like, oh, now we're putting on our armor, and we're going to go forth against the Lamanites. Wait, what? So you could? Whatever. Put on their armor, went forth against the Lamanites to drive them out of their land. And it came to pass, Drink, that the Lamanites did beat them, and drove them back, and slew many of them. Yeah, Lamanites they're not falling for that again. They're like, nope, don't you try to kick us out of your land. We know what that happens next. And now there was a great mourning and lamentation among the people of Limhi. The widow mourning for her husband, the son and daughter mourning for their father, and the brothers for their brethren. Now there were a great many widows in the land, and they did cry mightily from day to day, for a great fear of the Lamanites had come upon them. Okay, and then it came to pass, Drink, that their continual cries did stir up the remainder of the people of Limhi to anger against the Lamanites. So whatever able-bodied male still alive, which it doesn't sound like there's many left, I think they're ready to go fight again. Why not? And they went again to battle. I was right. But they were driven back again, suffering much loss. How many times is it going to happen? It's just like, seriously, you keep losing. Stop. Just stop. Anyway, so more Nephites died to the Lamanites. Okay. Yea, Drink. They went again, even for a 3rd time, and suffered in the like manner, and those who were not slain returned again to the city of Nephi. How is anyone left, really? How are any of the Nephites left? They just keep they have this little ragtag army, and they're like, charge! And then smack, chop, chop, and they're like, oh, they limp back. And they're like, okay, well, that didn't work. What do you want to do? How about we do the exact same thing again? And then again. It's really smart. Okay. And they did humble themselves even to the dust, subjecting themselves to the yoke of bondage, submitting themselves to be smitten, and to be driven to and fro, and burdened according to the desires of their enemies. So they're slaves. There's no other way around it. They're straight up, old school slaves. And they did humble themselves even in the depths of humility, and they did cry mightily to God. Yea, Drink, even all the day long did they cry unto their God that he would deliver them out of their afflictions. So it's like, God, this sucks. Come on. throw us a bone. And now the Lord was slow to hear their cry. That's my favorite. Yeah, every time they say that, I can just picture God. He's up in heaven. He's got the radio on, and he hears some people down there, help us, God, help us. And he's like, I'm too busy right now. And he just cranks the radio up. Ha, I can't hear you. That's awesome. Slow to hear their cries. Because of their iniquities. Well, there you have it. And God's like, you guys were sinners, not helping. Nee. Nevertheless, the Lord did hear their cries. Wait, what now? The Lord was slow to hear their cries. Okay, so he was slow to hear it. He got around to it. Eventually, the song he was listening to, it ended. And he was like, oh, well, fine. People are crying for me. See if we can do something. Okay. So he heard their cries and began to soften the hearts of the Lamanites. And they began to ease their burdens. Yet the Lord did not see fit to deliver them out of bondage. There you have it. God's like, I'm going to make it suck a little less for you. But you're still slaves. Yeah, I'm not going that far. But I also love that he's softening the hearts of the Lamanites. Whenever you hear stuff like that, it really is God interfering with free will. It is, right? He's actually like manipulating people's emotions and desires. So yeah, the Lamanites were just so mad at the Nephites because they just kept killing all their people and they're just like getting their payback. And God's like, I will soften your heart. And now they're like, I guess the Nephites aren't that bad, right? So yeah, anyone that tries to use the free will argument that God gave us free will, yeah, he can also mess with it according to this. Yeah, and Bible does it too, softening hearts and hardening hearts and all that nonsense. Okay, and it came to pass, they began to prosper by degrees in the land, and began to raise grain more abundantly, and flocks and herds, that they did not suffer with hunger. All right, so they're still slaves, they're not getting beat as much, and they're starting to at least their agriculture is coming back, and so is their what do you call that? Animal husbandry or something? Is that what you mean when you call like raising animals? Now there were a great number of women, more than there was of men. Well, sure, the men kept dying in these fruitless waves of attacks against this Lamanite army. Therefore King Limhi commanded that every man should impart to the support of the widows and their children, that they might not perish with hunger. And this they did because of the greatness of their number that had been slain. All right, so basically even the married men had to share like their food with the widows. That seems fair. It goes along with the whole socialist theme of this the Nephites. Now the people of Limhi kept together in a body as much as it was possible, and secured their grain and their flocks. And the king himself did not trust his person without the walls of the city. Did not trust his person without. Oh, so the king is not leaving the city. Fair enough. Unless he took his guards with him, fearing that he might by some means fall into the hands of the Lamanites. Fair enough. Okay, so the Lamanites, they have soft hearts, but they're still kind of pissed. So the king's like, I'm not taking chances. I'm not going outside the city without my guards. Why would you ever go anywhere without your guards? That's just not a smart thing for a political ruler to do. Okay, and he caused that his people should watch the land round about, that by some means they might take those priests that fled into the wilderness. So he's still looking for those priests, who had stolen the daughters of the Lamanites, and they had caused such a great destruction to come upon them. That they had caused, did they find the priests and they destroyed them? No, I think it's just saying because the priests took the daughters, it caused destruction. Okay, for they were desirous to take them, that they might punish them, for they had come into the land of Nephi by night, and carried off their grain, and many of their precious things. These priests have become quite they've just gotten really good at raiding, right? So they know how to like sneak in and steal women and food. So they're you gotta keep an eye out for them. I don't remember where I left off. So for they had come into the land of Nephi by night, carried off their grain and many of their precious things, therefore they laid wait to them. So it sounds like the Nephites they know that these King Noah priests, which are still hiding in the wilderness, that they're sneaking in. It's like, tonight we're going to hide. When they sneak in, we'll get them. And it came to pass, that there was no more disturbance between the Lamanites and the people of Limhi, even until the time that Ammon and his brethren came in the land. Well, there you go. We're catching up to the last story. How do you like that? And I can't remember how you're supposed to say his name. I don't think it's Ammon. I think it's like Ammon. Yeah, that's it. I think so. I think that's how you say it. Okay. And the king, having been without the gates of the city with his guard, discovered Ammon and his brethren, and supposing them to be priests of Noah, therefore he caused that they should be taken. Now that story makes more sense. Remember the first time I was like, why did he capture them? I don't understand what they did wrong. Because he thought they were the priests of Noah. Okay, full circle, people. It's all making sense now. Okay, cause they should be taken, bound, and cast into prison. Okay, no, we know the rest of the story. Surely they're not going to tell it again, right? We'll see. And had they been priests of Noah, he would have caused that they should be put to death. But when he found that they were not, but that they were his brethren, he had come from the land of Zarahemla, he was filled with exceedingly great joy. And now King Limhi had sent, previous to the coming of Ammon, a small number of men to search for the land of Zarahemla, but they could not find it, for they were lost in the wilderness. Of course they were. Nevertheless, they did find a land which had been peopled, yea, drink, a land which was covered with dry bones, yea, drink, a land which had been peopled, and which had been destroyed. And they, having supposed it to be the land of Zarahemla, returned to the land of Nephi, having arrived in the borders of the land not many days before the coming of Ammon. So there you have it. So they found this lost civilization, right? They found their city, everybody dead. And they said, well, that must have been the Zarahemla. Must have been. What else could it be? But didn't they find plates there? And Ammon said that his king Mosiah could translate them. I hope they don't tell all that again, because we already know that. All right. Let's see. And they brought a record with them. Oh, they are going to tell it again. Even a record of the people whose bones they had found, and it was engraven on plates of ore. Plates of ore. That's what do we have now? Plates of brass, plates of gold, and now plates of ore. And now Limhi was again filled with joy on learning from the mouth of Ammon that King Mosiah had a gift from God, whereby he could interpret such engravings. Yea, and Ammon also did rejoice. Everybody's rejoicing. So excited. Somebody that can translate plates. We wouldn't see another of their kind until Joseph Smith, right? Yet Ammon and his brethren were filled with sorrow, because so many of their brethren had been slain. Oh, so sad. And also that King Noah and his priests had caused the people to commit so many sins and iniquities against God. They also did mourn for the death of Abinadi, and for the departure of Alma, and the people that went with him, who had formed a church of God through the strength and power of God, and faith on the words which had been spoken by Abinadi. So Alma's gone. I wonder what happened to him. Yeah, I guess he's gone. He just took off. That's strange. I thought Gideon was like one of Alma's people, but now whatever. I don't know. Anyway, Alma and his cult are just gone. We don't know where. They're just gone. Probably the wilderness. All right. Now what's next? Yea, drink. They did mourn for their departure, for they knew not whither they had fled. Now they would have gladly joined with them, for they themselves had entered into a covenant with God to serve him and keep his commandments. And now, since the coming of Ammon, King Limhi had also entered into a covenant with God, and also many of his people, to serve him and keep his commandments. And it came to pass, drink, that King Limhi and many of his people were desirous to be baptized, but there was none in the land that had authority from God. Okay, and Ammon declined doing this thing, considering himself an unworthy servant. So, how does that work? If you don't have anyone around that has authority to baptize you, you can't be baptized. Well, somebody had to be first, right? I mean, who was the first? I don't understand how this could be. I mean, and how do you get authority from God? Does God like come down? All right. They have no one has authority. I guess it just means there's no priests. But the priests, like Noah's priests, were just appointed. Like Noah was just like, you're a priest now. And I don't understand why Limhi can't do the same. It seems like that would solve this problem of no one around to give a baptism. Anyway, therefore they did not at this point form themselves into a church, waiting for the Spirit of the Lord. Waiting for the Spirit of the Lord. How will they know when the Spirit arrives? Okay. Now they were desirous to become even as Alma and his brethren who had fled into the wilderness. Okay. They were desirous to be baptized as a witness and a testimony that they were willing to serve God with all their hearts. Nevertheless, they did prolong the time, and an account of their baptism shall be given hereafter. Oh my God, I have to read an account of their baptism. I don't care. Anyway, and now all the study of Ammon and his people, and King Limhi and his people, was to deliver themselves out of the hands of the Lamanites and from bondage. Well, that's the end of 21. I think we've gone long enough. Probably time to wrap this up. That ended strangely. And now all the study of Ammon and his people. Oh, okay. Study meaning like they're researching. Okay, so they basically Ammon, his people, Limhi, and his people are basically now all of their time is committed to how do we get the Lamanites out of, or how do we like get out of this whole slavery situation with Lamanites. So that's a pretty good place to drop off. They're gonna hopefully the next chapter they figure that out. Well, this was awesome. I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be reading again. This was a lot of fun, and I hope I'm back to a regular schedule now, putting these out. Those of you that are listening to this as they're released, you'll notice this is a midweek episode. I was just too excited. I couldn't wait till Monday. And the other thing is that I did commit that once we hit our Patreon goal, I would be creating 2 free midweek episodes. This is one of them. So awesome. I'm standing behind my commitment, and we're doing this thing. So, all right, this was great. Thank you again to all the patrons of the show. Thanks to everyone that has decided to contribute in the ways that you have, both financially and through helping to spread the word about the show. And to all of you, thank you. You're the best. So with all that being said, I'll be back soon. We can keep reading Mosiah and see what happens. And until then, enjoy. Goodbye.
This song is licensed for use within this podcast. All song and copyright information can be found at www.mybookofmormonpodcast.com.